Hi guys, my name is Dr. Abdul Mannan. I'm a GP, I'm a medical educator, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to retain information. How can you remember things better when you're revising, when you're reading things, when you're trying to work up for an assignment or something like that? How do you keep that information in your head? How do you keep it for longer? How do you then regurgitate that when it comes to exams? And how do you do well? Now, if you want the answers to these questions, then carry on watching the video. My name is Abdul Mannan. Make sure you like this video, make sure you press the bell so that you know when I'm back on teaching you and giving you new information, and also make sure you subscribe to our channel. Lots of people will tell you that really success is about who you know. There's some truth to that, but actually many of us would actually purport that actually success is what you know. Knowledge is the game changer. Knowledge is power. So let's look at what are the ways in which we can improve our ability to retain, improve our ability to learn, and keep that information within our brains so that when it's the right time, when it comes to an exam, when it comes to a time to perform, we can regurgitate, we can bring that information back easily. How we learn, of course, is subject to scientific studies on a continual basis. Every day, every year, we come across new evidence in how we learn, how we as a species evolve, and how we interact with one another. We're constantly learning about this. So what is memory? All right, what is it? How do we learn? Okay, what is it that happens in the brain that helps us to learn, makes us learn? How do we do that? So what happens when it comes to remembering things, right, guys, is that our brain, it creates a memory for us. The way it does that is it sends signals in a particular way for each particular event that we experience in a unique way. So that then is basically kind of transmitted via what we call neurons, all right, and via connections, synapses. So essentially, things fire off in a particular way, relating to that particular event. So when these signals go up to our brain, what's happening is that is then retained as memory. How much that memory is committed to long-term memory, and that's the important bit in that. In the long run, this memory needs to come back easily. For that to happen, it needs to commit to the long-term memory part of our brain. And that happens with repetition and various other things, as well as the fact that when we are sleeping, when we are resting, that's like downtime for our brain to commit short-term memory into long-term memory. So that's probably another thing that's quite important to remember, which is getting some regular sleep, regular rest, so that our brain is able to consolidate everything that we've learned whilst we were awake. So the next bit is that we recall that memory. Okay, now this is the bit where if we recall, then we can remember. Right? We can then pass our exams. We can pass the test or do whatever we need to do with that memory. Now, recalling that memory is so much more easier if we are able to repeat it, if we are able to practice, if we are able to keep doing it. And that's perhaps another important area, which is to repeat. Repetition is very important in strengthening our memory. Okay, guys, now let's talk about how we can do things. What things can we do to help us in improving our ability to learn, improve our ability to keep that learning, keep that memory, and improve our ability to recall, to bring that memory back out and do the things we need to do to pass exams, to do well in our tests, to do well at work, and so forth. Okay, just before I go into it, remember my name is Dr. Abdul Mannan. I'm a GP, I'm a medical educator for bluepeanut.com. You can subscribe to our channel here. You can press the bell so you get the alerts, and also please subscribe to our channel. Now then, first of all, science is very clear about this, guys. There's been lots of studies done on animals and of course humans as well, in terms of finding that with exercise, we improve our ability to remember, our brain function improves. So exercise is the first thing to remember. Try to exercise regularly. All right, even if it's going for a walk and doing some exercise at home, going to the gym, whatever takes your fancy, try to incorporate regular exercise in your lives. Science also tells us that doing approximately half an hour's worth of exercise every day is the way forward. Now, that might not be a cup of tea for you. You might want to do shorter sessions. You might want to do longer sessions. You want to do more sessions in a day. That's entirely up to you guys. But generally speaking, try and aim for about half an hour every day to sharpen your memories. This next suggestion might seem a bit controversial, but believe me, I do it myself. So from a personal experience, I'm making this recommendation. Not only that, when I've looked into studies, I find that there are studies out there that will support my next suggestion, and that is chew. All right. When you're learning, when you're doing things, try to chew, whether it's gum, whether it's something else, chew. Keep your kind of, mouth active, whether it's, chewing something, whether it's kind of biting on something, or, I'm not saying eating or anything, but generally I tend to just chew gum. That I find it helps me somehow to remember better, okay? And published studies show that it might be because what happens when we chew is that our ability to recall is improved, it becomes more accurate over time. Why does that happen? Is it because the theory of increasing activity in the hippocampus of the brain, and that therefore allows you to recall memory better? I'm not sure, but there is some kind of studies out there, some theories out there that will support this thing about chewing. There are studies also that purport that oxygen levels are increased in the blood, and that helps also in our ability to remember things and learn. There was another study done actually, which also showed that when you chew, your heart rate increases, and that might be linked to the fact that then that increases your oxygen flow, and that can then affect how your quality of memory transforms from that. So it's up to you. I chew, it helps. I think it helps me, and certainly that's my second tip. Another of my personal recommendations is based on my own experience, but also there is some science behind this, and that is the ingestion of caffeine. I personally drink coffee during the day. Yes, it keeps you up, it keeps you more alert, but there is scientific evidence that ingesting caffeine around a period of learning is actually good at memory retention. I took it to heart, it works for me, I've been doing that. Don't know, if you like a bit of caffeine, give it a try. It might work for you, it might not, but there is certainly some scientific evidence for it. Next tip, meditation. Meditation is essential in my opinion, especially to help improve your working memory. So what's working memory? Working memory, right, is a bit like your notepad. It's like the brain having its own notepad, okay? That's where you hold your information on a temporary basis when you're learning things. So it's every day, whenever we're doing something, whenever we see something, we're taking notes basically. It's in our notepad, it's in our working memory, and what we're doing is actively recalling things that we need to, all right? Now, what happens later is, if it's important for whatever reason, we tend to try and commit that to our long-term memory, although it's subconscious, of course. But other things, the brain simply learns how to discard. And it just does that because we don't need it again. It's not essential, all right? You've switched on your sat nav, looked at the route, whatever, you got somewhere. You don't need to learn that. We don't need to remember that. The brain learns how to discard that. And you do that on a regular basis. So in studies, we find that the working memory actually is limited. Most of us can remember up to about 7 things at a time. Beyond that, we struggle. So we have to use actual physical notepads, task managers, and so forth. So in your mind, you can remember maximum of 7 things in parallel. Again, studies will show you that men aren't so good at doing that. Women can do more of that, and therefore they can multitask a lot more. So the question is, how can we improve that? Whether you're a man or a woman, how can we improve that? And as I said before, the way to do that is actually meditation. Let me explain. There's lots of studies out there that will show you that actually if you meditate, your ability to improve your working memory improves a lot, all right? And the way it improves is because it helps you to focus on mindfulness, all right? And in kind of a matter of a few weeks, in fact, studies have shown that no more than 2 months is required to help improve your ability to concentrate and improve your working memory. So what is it about meditation? What is it about doing it that helps your memory? So if you like, the way I kind of describe to my students in how it works is a bit like declogging your hard drive. So those of us who kind of clean our laptops, our computers, what do? Quite often we kind of defragment, all right? We kind of, for those of you who don't do it regularly and aren't very IT savvy, it's like you're cleaning your hard drive, you're organizing things in your hard drive, basically. It's a process by which you do that. And meditation is very similar. It's almost like defragmenting your own brain by meditating. Essentially, you stop thinking. Essentially, you stop being active, doing lots of remembering, lots of thinking, lots of talking and whatnot, and you shut down, all right? You take a period of time where you calm down, you just think about yourself or something simple, or it might be a spiritual thing to do with your religion and your prayers or whatever. So there's different forms of meditation, of course. There's not any one type of meditation I'm purporting. And what I'm saying is find something that kind of puts you in touch with your inner calmness, okay? That could be yoga, that could be, religious observations, which makes you kind of go quiet and take time, think about yourself, just keep it nice and simple. Nothing, no engagements with others, no talking, no kind of doing things. Just give yourself some peace and tranquility. Now, my next tip, again, I do that. I think it's beneficial. And there's good studies to prove that. And that is eating berries, all right? Berries are actually low in carbs and they're high in antioxidants, lots of minerals, lots and lots of vitamins. They're almost like little vitamin bombs, if you like, all right? They're full of goodness and they're essential. Many components of minerals are essential in good memory retention. Studies, for example, from the University of Reading and Peninsula Medical School have shown that the effects of berries over a few weeks can improve memory in a massive way. I read a study not so long ago. It was a long-term study looking at elderly female nurses who had been eating berries regularly, about a couple of times a day. It actually showed that their cognitive decline was slowed down. They could remember better. They could process things a lot quicker as compared to people who didn't eat berries regularly. So I'm not saying to you that it's a panacea, eat lots of berries every day, guys, but there are studies out there that can suggest that it is good for you. There's lots of studies ongoing at the moment. For example, the effects of flavonoids, which you get in blueberries, are they useful for memory recall? I don't know that for sure, but there's ongoing studies to show that. Nonetheless, what you should remember is actually berries are a really good source of vitamins, minerals, and of course, energy as well. My last point, guys, as I said earlier on, it was probably the earliest thing I mentioned in this video, and that is sleep. Sleep is so important, right, to help preserve your memory, help strengthen those synaptic interchanges that go on with memory recall. It's so important that you give yourselves time for kind of the downtime, regular downtime. It's kind of the the next step of meditation. It's the regular thing you need to do for your brain to just calm down and help it recall things that it's been doing earlier on, strengthen those memory synaptic exchanges that it's done earlier on, so that the memory can come back when you want to remember things. So make sure you do that. Get plenty of sleep, regular sleep. Don't sleep deprive yourself. There's also evidence to show that actually short naps are very good. One of the studies that I was reading about, it showed that if you took regular short naps, and I'm talking maybe about less than an hour, 40 minutes, something like that, it actually helps you to be more alert. It helps you to remember better. It helps you to recall things a lot better. So there you go, guys. These are my top tips with regards to improving your memory, to help recall memory, and to do well in your tests, exams, projects, whatever it is that you need to improve your memory for. Hope it helps. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any feedback, put it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and press that bell button so that you know whenever we publish a new video. My name is Abdul Mannan. I'm a GP and I'm a medical educator with bluepeanut.com.